Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for November 30, 2023. Yes, it's the last day of November, the F-off edition. And we begin with that story from the New York Times Deal Book, reporting on the Deal Book Summit, where Elon Musk took the stage to announce he didn't care what advertisers thought of him. He thinks they're trying to silence his speech, and he believes that they're in the wrong and they can just go F themselves. Pretty good for a company that's in the financial straits of X. Next up from the Salt Lake Tribune, I believe a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, they take a look at the 2002 Salt Lake City bribery scandal involving the Olympics. They go back a little bit further, 25 years, and it's in the context of Salt Lake City being likely to host another Winter Olympics. And they take a look at the changes that came about after the 2002 games, which were marred by an international vote-buying scheme occurring favor on the International Olympic Committee. The scandal, which broke in 1998, led to 10 IOC members resigning or being expelled, and to criminal prosecutions of the 2 Salt Lake City Olympic leaders, Tom Welch and David Johnson. So always good to look back to sort of the starting points of cleaning up bribery and corruption. Next up from Reuters, the U.S. Supreme Court may gut SEC enforcement through its own private or administrative law judge system, as the George Jakeski case was orally argued. The lawsuit is supported by conservative and business groups who want to gut SEC enforcement and make the SEC go to federal district court. It's going to be interesting because I think juries are going to be much less sanguine for the corrupt fraudsters that the SEC brings to court. And our final story today comes to us from the Financial Times, which asks the question of how does a chief executive avoid growing old? Well, the answer is simply don't grow old. Competence and capability are the best ways to assess leaders or their age, and equally important is intellectual curiosity. So a large number of firms require leaders to step down. EY requires its partners to step down at 60. And that seems like an absurd age to do so.
The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.